Hey everyone, welcome to 59 Tops Friday, presented by Wax Pack Wisdom, where we talk baseball history through the cards we love. My name is Jake T. O'Donnell. We built the iconic 1959 Topps baseball set, and in this series, we're going through every card to talk about the players, teams, and people who made up Major League Baseball in 1959. Today, we'll cover cards 116 through 124 in the set. Today, we're kicking off our look at the first of three major card subsets in the 1959 Topps set, the Sporting News Rookie Stars of 1959. Presented alphabetically, some of these players had long and successful major league careers. Others never made it to the big leagues at all. Think of this as the 1959 version of the top minor league prospects lists that outlets like Baseball America and MLB Pipeline publish each year. Card number 116 belongs to Bob Allison of the Washington Senators. Of the players in the Rookie Stars subset, one did actually take home a League Rookie of the Year award in 1959, and it just so happens to be the first player featured, Bob Allison. He had debuted in 1958 after a sterling Double-A campaign, hitting .307 in the minors with just 9 homers. Allison won the Senators' starting center field job in 1959, and a power stroke he had not shown in the minors arrived. He smashed 30 homers and made the AL All-Star team to go along with the aforementioned Rookie of the Year honors. Allison moved to the outfield corners in 1960 and moved with the team to Minnesota in 1961. He never quite had another year as good as 1959. However, he was an all-star in back-to-back years in 1963 and 1964, hitting 35 and 32 homers respectively. Allison hit a home run in the 1965 World Series for the Twins, and he retired in 1970. Late in life, Allison was diagnosed with a rare neurological disease, a form of progressive sporadic ataxia, for which he helped found a research center at the University of Minnesota. He died from ataxia complications in 1995. Card number 117 belongs to John Blanchard of the New York Yankees. Blanchard had appeared in one game for the Bombers in 1955, but went back to the minors and produced as a top catching prospect in the Yankee system for several years. He came back to the big leagues in 1959 and appeared in games at 4 different positions, and in 1960, Blanchard became part of a catching group that also featured Hall of Famer Yogi Berra and star backstop Elston Howard. When given a chance, especially on a big stage, Blanchard performed. He went 5 for 11 in the 1960 World Series and then 4 for 10 with 2 homers in the 1961 Fall Classic. He appeared in the World Series each of the following 3 years for the Yankees too. Blanchard also played in the majors for the A's and Braves. Outside of baseball, Blanchard holds a memorable place in sports broadcasting history. He was the color commentator for the first live sporting event ever broadcast by ESPN, when he called Game 1 of the American Professional Slow Pitch Softball League World Series live from Lannon, Wisconsin on September 7th, 1979. Card number 118 belongs to John Buzhardt of the Chicago Cubs. Buzhardt pitched in 6 games on the North Side in late 1958 and made enough of an impression to earn a spot in this subset. He pitched 101.1 innings for the Cubs in 1959, mostly in relief. For 1960, he was part of the trade with the Phillies that sent Hall of Fame outfielder Richie Ashburn to the Cubs. In Philly, Buzhardt had a respectable first year as a starter, earning a 3.86 ERA in 200 innings, but he struggled in year 2 and was traded to the south side of Chicago for slugger RoY Sievers. With the White Sox, Buzhardt was a serviceable arm, alternating between starting and relieving. He also pitched for Baltimore and Houston in 11 big league seasons. Card number 119 belongs to Johnny Callison of the Chicago White Sox. Callison arrived in Chicago for a cup of coffee at the end of the 1958 season and played 49 games for the White Sox in 1959. He was dealt to the Phillies, and within a couple of years he was their everyday power-hitting left fielder, making the NL All-Star team in 1962 as a 300 hitter. Callison had a top 15 NL MVP voting finish in 1963, but 1964 would prove to be his most memorable year. Callison was again an NL All-Star in 1964. He also hit 31 home runs, drove in 104, and hit .274 and finished second in league MVP voting. Callison was the superstar of a 1964 Phillies team that looked poised to win the NL pennant, but blew a 6-game lead over the Cardinals with 12 games to go. Callison made another All-Star team in 1965, hitting 32 homers in that campaign. His power started to dry up in 1966, but he continued performing as a solid starter, eventually making his way to the Cubs for 2 seasons and the Yankees for 2 more before retiring in 1973. Card number 120 belongs to Chuck Coles of the Cincinnati Redlegs. Coles appeared in only 5 big league games, all for the Reds and all in 1958, going 2 for 11 with 2 RBI. Cole was originally signed by the Dodgers, and he played parts of 5 minor league seasons in their organization before he joined the Reds. He hit .307 with 29 homers in Double-A in 1958 before coming up to Cincinnati during that year. But in 1959, things went terribly wrong for Coles back in the minors, and he hit just .181 in 131 games that season. It didn't exactly help that the Reds had the likes of Frank Robinson, Vada Pinson, and Gus Bell patrolling the Crosley Field outfield at the same time. Coles also appeared in the minors for the Braves and Twins organizations. Card number 121 belongs to Bob Conley of the Philadelphia Phillies. Conley pitched in just 2 games in his major league career. Both were in September 1958 for the Phillies. Both were starts, and he pitched well in the first one and poorly in the second. He'd been the ace of the Phillies' AAA Miami team in 1958, earning a .294 ERA in 190 innings there. But after his brief call-up in 1958, he only pitched in 20 more professional games and spent some time with Baltimore's system in addition to Philadelphia. Card number 122 belongs to Bennie Daniels of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Daniels had debuted for the Pirates in 1957, making one outstanding start that year in what happened to be the last Dodgers game ever at Brooklyn's Ebbets Field. He tossed 8 games in 1958. Daniels earned regular time on Danny Murtaugh's pitching staff in 1959 and was a swingman over 100.2 innings. But Daniels struggled in 1960, split time between the majors and minors, and did not appear in the World Series that year. He was traded to the Senators for Bobby Shantz ahead of the 1961 season, and he spent 5 years there as both a starter and reliever before retiring. Card number 123 belongs to Don Dillard of the Cleveland Indians. In 1958, Dillard starred for the Indians' Double-A affiliate in Mobile, hitting .319 with 21 homers. The following year, he was very solid for the Pacific Coast League's San Diego Padres and made his MLB debut with the Indians, playing 10 games that year and 6 the next in the majors. Dillard earned playing time as a reserve outfielder first for the Indians in 1961 and 1962, and then for the Braves in 1963 and part of 1965. Card number 124 belongs to Dan Dobbek of the Washington Senators. Dobbek had shown good power as an outfielder in the Senators system, smacking 23 homers in 1959 for their Double-A team in Chattanooga before making his big league debut as a September call-up that year. He appeared in 110 games for the Senators in 1960, playing a good amount of center field, but he hit just .218 and spent 1961 between the majors and minors. In 1962 and 1963, Dobbek played solely in the minors and spent time in the Cincinnati organization. That's going to do it for this edition of 59 Tops Friday on Wax Pack Wisdom. Do you have a story about one of the people, players, or teams we discussed today? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our Wax Pack Wisdom content. In the video description, you will find our source material for this episode, links to where you can follow us on all social media channels, as well as a list of our favorite nonprofits and charities. Please consider a donation to one of them if you enjoyed this content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Wax Pack Wisdom. Take care.